Good evening, hockey fans from around the Nicola Valley. Welcome to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials Talking Sense. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Centennials, Jared Thomas. Talking Sense brought to you by DCS Auto, the automotive shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring your car into Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire or call 378-2929. Sense starting to turn the page on January with only one game remaining, that being this Wednesday against the Vernon Vipers. But January on the whole, it hasn't been kind through the month of since. They are now 2-7 leading up to last weekend, with the most recent loss coming in double overtime fashion to the Powell River Kings. Since look to right the ship with a trip down south to Wenatchee to take on the Wild in a doubleheader. The Sens, in the first game, they played well in the first period, weren't rewarded with any goals, had plenty of chances. In the second, it would remain scoreless, but the physical play was beginning to ramp up.
Leaves for Vanderbeck. Oh, what a hit by Buckley. Lays down his man, captain on captain. And it's the Centennials captain who got the better of that exchange.
That would set the stage for an intense third period, but it was the Wild who found the score sheet first.
Modry able to get to it. Now Kent. Up the right side. Colton Gurley can clear. In the middle. Shot and the Wild score!
Austin Roden would stand tall in net the rest of the way, making over 30 saves. And midway through the period, he made a key save on a breakaway, was rushed by Sam Morton. Zach Zorn took exception, went after Morton, tried to fire the guys up, ended up getting thrown out of the game, but got the bench engaged, got everyone into it, and late in the frame, the Sens looking for a miracle, and they'd find it from a certain hero.
Wicks with some fancy footwork, court to the back end, driving with a score! What a move from Zach Court! What patience! The veteran showing why he's been in the league for so long. The long in the tooth vet move, going inside out on the backhand, outweights Seth Isley, and then tucks it into bed.
Zach Court playing hero, final minute of the game with a beauty move to get it past Seth Isley. That set the stage for overtime. And in the first overtime, the Sens had a full 2-minute 4-on-3 power play. They got plenty of good looks, couldn't get anything done. And that went to double overtime. And it was almost the same dramatic fashion as against the game prior, against the Powell River Kings, where the Sens had a dangerous rush one way, peeled it back the other, and that's when the Wild took hold.
He'll drive wide, centering. Oh, what a stop by Roden! Now Mike Bennion in the chance with Nick Wicks the other way. These two out of gas. Wicks in. His shot goes wide. Jasper Weatherby the other way. Possible 2-on-1 with Luke Sauter to the backhand. Get saved by Roden, but Weatherby follows it up and gets it across the line.
Big saves from Roden throughout, but like I mentioned, it is a heartbreaking fashion loss again for the Merritt Centennials. They'd look to right the ship in game number 2 against the Wenatchee Wild the following night. Could they do it? We'll find out in segment 2 of Talking Sense with me, Jared Thomas, brought to you by DCS Auto on Q101. Good evening and welcome back to the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials Talking Sense. I'm your host and play-by-play broadcaster for the Sense, Jared Thomas. And Talking Sense brought to you by DCS Auto, the shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Bring it into Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire, or give them a call, 378-2929. In segment 1, we recapped game 1 of the doubleheader down in Wenatchee, Washington. In segment 2, we will get into game 2, and it was a big game for a couple of big players on the Merritt Centennials. Captain Tyrell Buckley getting into his 200th regular season BCHL game, all with the Merritt Centennials, and assistant captain Henry Cleghorn getting into his 150th regular season BCHL game. So a big shout out to those two who have been key cogs on the team this year. And in game 2 of the doubleheader, it was Guns and Hoses night in Wenatchee, an ode to police and firemen. So what does that mean? It meant that over 3,000 fans were on hand to take in the game, a large crowd, and that meant more people to be disappointed if the Cents could pull off the win. In the first, it was the Wild who got things going.
Slava Demon to the near side for A.J. Vanderbeck. He'll chip it in. After it is Sam Hessler. Hessler back for Zach. Across for Demon. Demon. He'll play it for Vanderbeck. Walking in on that far side. Tries to go cross ice for Zach. That's broken up, but it's worked back to the line. Deflected on. Slava Demon's shot. Deflected in front. With just 9 seconds remaining on the penalty to Joey Berkopek.
Cents trying to kill off a lengthy double minor to Joey Berkopek for high sticking, made it all the way to the final 9 seconds before the Wild finally converted. That would be the end of scoring in the first period, but it was in large part due to huge saves by Jacob Berger.
Vanderbeck walking in, his wrister low. Berger makes a couple stops, it's loose in front. Still making saves. Jacob Berger standing on his head in front. Sasaki, another shot, another save. Jacob Berger comes across to make another pad save. What stops from the netminder of the Merritt Centennials?
The Cents would only throw 6 shots on net in the first period, in large part due to the fact that they were shorthanded for 6 minutes during that first period. In the second, they came out with plenty of fire and ended up getting on the score sheet early.
Heading to the middle, gets around Cooper Zek. Now with some room, Wicks across the score! What a tic-tac from Wicks and Zorn! And they convert and draw level early in the second period. Wicks with some slick moves on the right side finds Zorn streaking to the net. And Zorn bats it in past Isley.
Zorn drawing the boys level early in the second period. And let me just tell you, the rest of the game, it was a roller coaster. Joey Berkopek went from being in the box to being in the booth. We'll get into it in the next segment of Talking Sense. Wild Cents tied at 1s in the second period. Where did it go from here? We'll find out in segment 3 with me, Jared Thomas, on Talking Sense, brought to you by DCS Auto on Q101. Welcome back to Talking Sense, the show where you can stay up to date on everything Merritt Centennials. I'm Jared Thomas, host and play-by-play broadcaster. Talking Sense brought to you by DCS Auto, the shop that can talk your vehicle's language. Talk to Sean and Heidi on Lauder Street behind Cal Tire, or give them a call, 378-2929. I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger. Cents and Wild tied at 1s early in the second. What would happen next? Another Cents goal.
Plays it up the left side to Risto. Risto goes cross ice for Brendan Schneider. Getting onto the puck with speed. Drop pass, Colton Gurley. Across for Cleghorn. Oh, what passing! A drop feed from Schneider to Gerlib finds the streaking Henry Cleghorn to the net. And oh, Henry! It is 150th game. He tallies a goal.
From then on in the second, it would be some rough stuff. First up, Joey Berkopek.
Toyota Center, we got a brouhaha going between Stratton and Berkopek. Berkopek dropping the gloves. And they're going to go. Berkopek throwing some ice. He falls to the ice. But that gets the crowd fired up. And the team's fired up.
The physical play would continue as after a big Ryland Van Unen hit, this ensued.
And now we got another fight going. Galambos and Van Unen. They both go to the ice quickly again before too many punches are thrown.
2 goals for the Saints, 2 fights, and it was a crazy second period. And in the third, the Saints looking for some insurance to get that 2-goal lead, and they found it.
Now with the puck, Sam Hessler, pile up, rugby scrum. Schneider comes away with it, cutting to the middle. Schneider, the shot, score! Goes top corner. Bulges the water bottle, and Brendan Schneider gets a little extra insurance. Number 22 gives the Saints the 2-goal lead.
Saints lead 3-1, courtesy a goal from Brendan Schneider. He had a goal and an assist in the game. It meant the Wild were chasing. The shoe was on the other foot in game 2, and they tried their darndest to get back.
Court works it to the wall off the draw. It's played down low for Dorsey. Net is empty for the Wenatchee Wild in front. It's off both posts and then finally across the line. The Wild within 1 late.
That would be as close as the Wild would get. Saints would hang on for the 3-2 win, their first win in 6 games. The last 2 coming in double overtime loss fashion, but the Saints pick up 3 of 4 points against the Wild, and hopefully that can lead to some momentum down the stretch as their next matchup, the Vernon Vipers, and a foe that Joe Martin knows all too well.
I think we're better, and we know we won 5-0, but I think we're playing better hockey right now than we did that day. It's the trick right now is it's only Saturday, and I think the trick is with this Centennial group is to keep it around till Wednesday.
The Saints will have a tough test on Wednesday against the Vipers, but maybe even tougher against the Penticton V's, a team they haven't beat yet on Friday night at home at the Nicola Valley Memorial Arena.
You know, it brings me to that third period in Penticton, and Zach has a great hit in the neutral ice there, and you know, it kind of got our intensity going, and then a player on their team skates by our bench and, you know, basically questions the character of our team. And I think that's something you can't do with this group. You can't question the character of who we have. And I find that very disrespectful, and it's going to give me motivation for that game.
So some big matchups this week. Vernon on Wednesday, Penticton at home on Friday, and then the West Kelowna Warriors on Saturday. A big 3-game set, a possible 6 points on the line. Can the Saints catch them all? We'll find out. Get out to the rink or listen right here on Q101. This has been Talking Sense. I've been Jared Thomas. It's brought to you by DCS Auto, and you're listening on Q101.